everybody, it's Nikki and I'm here to do another video that's my personal experience, not to be used as medical advice. I have been working on the first day of a new sensor, the first day of a sensor. And I've been working on it for a couple of weeks now, and I really want to give you something organized and clear cut and something that will help people get through their first day, because first days have not been easy for people, for a lot of people. Some of you sail through it, we know, but the reason I'm doing this is because calibrations are giving people a hard time right now. And now having a fairly large Facebook group, it gives me an opportunity to get a lot of feedback on how people are doing with their first day. And there's this great variation in what people receive on the first day. Anything from I get 3 calibration, requests to I get 12 calibration requests and I can't get anything to take. I definitely think that it's harder in auto mode than it is in manual mode. We know that auto mode has way stricter rules. Nobody knows what those rules are necessarily, but we know that there are rules, and a lot of them. But even manual mode, it can give you a hard time. Not as hard of a time, but it can do it. Okay, so my calibration, my first day has always been pretty good. Even in auto mode, I never had too much of a problem. I also always calibrated when my pump asked me to calibrate, and I never calibrated before. I'm a by the book kind of person until I'm not. So I always had what I thought was this very standard schedule. I also remembered it as being 2 hours, 6 hours, 6 hour, 12 hour, a 2, 6, 6, 12. According to Medtronic, it is supposed to be 2, 6, 12. And to me that blows my mind, because I'm like, I don't think I get 2, 6, 12. But what they said is that is standard first day calibration schedule, and that's what we can expect, with the exception of an occasional diagnostic calibration request. We should be getting that 2, 6, 12. And I'm like, I don't think I ever get 2, 6, 12. I do know that I get 2, 6, 6, 12 when I'm behaving myself and I'm calibrating when it's asking me to. And that was actually what the whole premise on all of this was, is whether or not we can calibrate early on first day, which then makes me think, can we calibrate early ever? Maybe later on in the sensor's life, when we're getting those 6 hour windows, maybe we shouldn't be calibrating early then either. But for today, we're looking at just the first day. And I will say to you that I'm also a 670G user. I'm not Medtronic. I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not saying this to cover my own butt. I'm saying this because I have no idea what's going on, and I'm interested in the experimenting part of it, but I don't know the answer. I'm doing this because I'd like to find the answer. So I love it when people leave feedback. It helps. I'm trying to coordinate with my group that we do something like this. This is my log, but nobody's as excited about it as I am. So I'm filling them out left and right, which brings me to my own first day sensors. Basically, this is what I had on this document. I said, here are my thoughts. According to Medtronic, standard first day should include a warm-up, calibration at completion of warm-up, calibration within 6 hours, and then initiation of a 12-hour calibration schedule. So it should be a 2, 6, 12 pattern. According to Medtronic, they say that we should expect this, and that only occasionally should we get a 3-hour diagnostic. I don't even know if they mentioned 3 hour. I think that's what I'm figuring out on my own, but only occasionally should we, get a diagnostic calibration thrown in there. My thoughts, I'm not sure if I've ever gotten 2, 6, 12. I can say I've definitely not gotten it frequently enough to have noticed it as a potential pattern. I do know that 2, 6, 6, 12 is what I've gotten for a very long time. Now maybe one of those is the diagnostic calibration, I'm not sure. But then it wouldn't be quite as rare as what they're portraying. Okay, that was point number 1. Point number 2, according to Medtronic, after that warm-up period, calibrating any time within that 6 hour window is okay and should enter us into the next window. That's the one right there that I think maybe is messy. And I'll tell you why. About 2 months ago, I started to mess around with the calibrating early in the 6 hour window, and then calibrating once I got to the red within 1 hour of a calibration being due, and just to kind of see what was happening with that next 6 hour window. And I can tell you that for the last 4 first days, every time I have calibrated when I still had half a green circle, so that's within that 6-hour window, but not within the 1 hour, and I'm not even gonna talk about the yellow quarter circle because I am not there yet. But if I have calibrated at any time, like we're being told that we can, it appears as if I am not getting cleared into the next 6-hour window or into the next 12-hour window. It appears as if I'm just getting a refreshed 6-hour window. So basically I'm buying myself extra calibrations on that first day. So it's not really at my convenience unless it is convenient to me to be doubling up how many calibrations I'm doing. So I have figured out that when I calibrate at that red sliver, meaning I'm within 1 hour of when the calibration was due, it's fine. And I still am following my schedule. As soon as I calibrate early, my last three ones, I've gotten as many as 8 calibrations on my first day. And I think it's because I just keep refreshing that window. So my thoughts are that it may not be harmful to calibrate at any time within that first 6-hour window, but I'm not convinced it's beneficial either. It might just be getting us some more calibrations. So I said that in a much longer response because that's what I do. According to Medtronic, this is point number 3, 2-6-12 is standard first day calibration schedule, as already noted, but one may be asked for diagnostic calibrations. This is not part of the standard schedule or a result of having done anything wrong. This is just the system wanting to check itself. I agree with Medtronic. I think that every time the pump is asking for a calibration, it feels like it just asked for it, but I think that a lot of times it really hasn't just asked for it. We are somewhere in our cycle, but occasionally we are being asked for a diagnostic one, which, I can't really argue with. If the pump wants to check itself, then that's great. But now that I'm able to identify which one is a diagnostic calibration versus where I am in my cycle, it makes me less angry. And I've also figured out that there is no early calibrating on a diagnostic calibration. So as soon as you see that yellow circle, you can go ahead and calibrate, and it will clear you right back into your 6-hour window. This is pretty confusing stuff, pretty silly stuff, but it is what it is. Okay, so what I have found over the last couple of things is that I do sometimes get asked for a 3-hour diagnostic calibration. I can turn around and give it that number right away, and I go right back into my 6-hour window and on throughout my schedule. The only way I'm able to determine which one is a diagnostic calibration versus where, if I'm just at a 6-hour, but now I'm within a couple of hours of the next calibration, is that the diagnostic calibration, when it asks you for a diagnostic calibration, it just pops up. There's no warning, there's no pre-request, it doesn't get saved on your alarm history. So it just, all of a sudden you'll look down and you'll see that your circle is quarter yellow. And let's say I knew that I had a calibration due in 6 hours, and now all of a sudden I don't know if you know where your circle is, but here's your circle. So if all of a sudden that's a quarter yellow circle, and I knew that I was at about 6 hours from my last calibration, well, that's a diagnostic calibration. I can give it at any time. And then I get put right back in that 6-hour window. It sounds like it's completely ridiculous, but the truth is I'm starting to be able to manipulate my pump a little bit on the first day, and that's very nice. I'm starting to own it, about this much, rather than it completely owning me. My question moving forward, and this is my plan for next week, is: does this mean I can calibrate every time at quarter yellow circle and still get cleared into the next stage, or is that only magic when you're at a diagnostic calibration? And I don't know. I'm hoping to figure that out next week. Okay, so general thoughts. I may be wrong, but I think cleaning up the first day might help us get through it with fewer problems. I'm not sure that we can get through it faster. 12 hours, from my experience, seems to be what the pump needs to kind of get itself together with the sensor. I might be able to trim off a couple of hours here and there. If it turns out I can calibrate at a quarter yellow circle, then maybe I would be able to shave off 4 hours of that day. I don't think I can shave off 8 hours of it by calibrating early in those 6 hour windows. I think that just waiting and calibrating when the thing is asking us to calibrate might get us through the full 12 hours on fewer calibrations. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but I do think that right now people are really taking a hit with calibrations, and it's not a guaranteed thing. So to be mixing in extra ones on your first day, it just might be a bad idea. I do have a plan for my own stuff. Next week I would like to try to just calibrate every single time on a quarter yellow circle and see if I can, trim down on the total time in the first day calibration schedule. And then after that, I'm taking a pump break. And I can't wait. So I am working with FUD, FU Diabetes, and they're going to help me. They're helping me get myself together for a pump break, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to try 1 week with nothing, and then maybe I'm going to come back in and hit auto mode and try all this out, and then throw my pump out into the lake. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.